Hey guys, so recently I decided to build a budget park bike. Came across a pretty good frame at a good price and some good components, some good Black Friday sales, and put this guy together. But I ran into something that I've run into before on previous downhill bike builds. Always have a problem getting the right I-Spec variant for the brakes that I'm running at the time and the shifter that I've selected for the build. Typically the Saint Grupo is my go-to for downhill stuff, and I believe the Saint shifter comes in the I-Spec B variant. And even when I ran Saint brakes, I never really had the I-Spec B version of those brakes. So I always ended up running two different clamps on the bars, and always wished I could somehow consolidate that into a cleaner kind of like clamp situation. Anyways, I went with the Z Grupo this time around just to save some money. There were some good Black Friday deals out there, and this is supposed to be a budget park bike. So ended up in the same boat. Let me show you. As you can see over here, I've got the Z shifter, and it's not even offered in any of the E-Spec variations that I'm aware of anyways. You can't find a cover for it to replace it like you can with the Saint shifter. Basically, it's just a bar clamp and that's it. I did go with the new SLX 4-piston brakes, which is I-Spec EV. So that kind of presented an even bigger problem, is getting these two things to work together. So even if I spent the money on the I-Spec B Saint shifter, it wasn't going to work with these brakes because these are now I-Spec EV. Well, I searched around a lot online, checked out Problem Solvers, checked out, what is it, Wolf's Tooth, and I think there's even like an eBay Chinese brand called Z-Race that makes a couple of different adapters, and none of them really seemed like they were going to help me out. But what I did find was I found this. I got this from Thunder Mountain Cycles, I think in Sedona, Arizona. And what this is a Deore 10-speed shifter, but I-Spec EV. I was a little worried when I saw this thing online because I thought it was going to be kind of like a commuter type shifter and have a big old pad on there and not really be as ergonomic as the Shimano Gravity stuff. But check this out. So when you compare this shifter to the Budget Z, they're almost identical as far as the pads go. I mean, the Z's got, the little golf ball dimples in the pad, which I covered up with some, I don't know, it's like an adhesive rubber pad there. But as far as size goes and the length of the shifters, I mean, they're pretty much identical. So yeah, I think I'm going to throw this bad boy on here, clean up this cockpit with the EV spec, and see how she goes. I mean, it really doesn't look that bad at all. So yeah, let me install this thing and come back and we can take a look at it all cleaned up. Okay, here's what the handlebar looks like after install. Obviously nice and clean with the I-Spec EV hookup there. And to my delight, the shifter is no bigger or bulkier than the Z that was previously on there. I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but they're pretty much identical. So one nice thing, which I would consider an upgrade, is that this new Deore shifter did come with the OptiSlick cable, whereas the Z did not have that. But I'll put this in my parts bin. You never know when my son's old enough to ride. Could be a part of his future build. But yeah, I'm digging this shifter. I mean, it shifts and feels exactly like the Z. It looks exactly like the Z, except that it's EV spec. Also, one note is I am running this on a 7-speed setup. Also pretty common. The rear mech has been pretty awesome. It looks great. Never had a Z component rear mech before. I've always gone with Saint. Shifts wonderfully. Haven't had any issues with it. Lots of different ways you can go with a 7-speed setup in the rear. I went with the HG driver and a, what is this, a box 7-speed conversion spacer. Super cheap, super easy to do. And I hear one of my kids running in this direction. So I think if you guys are thinking about cleaning up the cockpit with the I-Spec EV shifter, then this is definitely the way to go. No doubt about it. Thanks and have a great night.